𝑫𝒂𝒖𝒉𝒕𝒆𝒓. Be sure to check on the children.
Hello and welcome to Freaky Fridays with me, your hostess with the mostest, Sky Explains It All. So in this installment of Freaky Fridays, we're going to be taking a look at episode 2, titled Delicious, from the 4-episode anime series Pet Shop of Horrors. Now if you want to check out episode 1, I did that one a few weeks ago, and I'll have the little links up here or down below in the description. And with this episode, we start off seeing a young woman, and she's fallen off a ship into the ocean, and there's a hand reaching out for her, and it is a man dressed in a suit, and then there's a woman standing next to him dressed in formal wear as well. So clearly from this we can tell a wedding was going on, but from what we've seen in this moment, we are unable to tell if the man is reaching out to try to help her or if he pushed her off. We don't know, because as she's falling off, she releases this like blood curdling scream. So that's how the episode starts in the beginning. Fast forward, we're in the present. Count D is chilling in his pet shop as he usually does, and enters a man who is the same man from earlier who was on the ship. Count D says to him, "Welcome, Mr. Jason Gray." And Jason comes to the pet shop because he tells him, "I'm here to pick up a pet that my wife purchased." Count D tells him, "Yeah, we were wondering, with the passing of your wife a few days ago, we didn't really know what to do with the pet." Jason asks him, "Well, what's the pet? What did she buy?" And he tells him to, follow him. So they go deeper into the pet shop. They're walking towards the back. He asks him what sort of pet is it that his wife purchased, and he's like, "It's a type of rare fish that they cannot display in the front of the shop." So they finally make it to the room that Count D is keeping the pet in. When we get in there, it's this gargantuan vase, and it's filled with water. And there's a ladder there alongside the vase. He tells Jason to, climb up. So Jason climbs up the ladder. He's looking over the vase, leans over a little more, and he sees the dark water, but he doesn't see anything. Like there's nothing going on, until slowly we see emerge is a face, and it looks like a human face until the entire upper torso is out of the water, and it has these very like fish-like ears sticking out. But when Jason sees this face, he's like, "Oh my gosh, like Ava, it's you, Ava, oh my god, you're alive." And Count D does what Count D usually does, and he's like, "Slow your roll. This is a mermaid, and he found her recently on the full moon. She had washed ashore." Jason's like, "Well, hold up. I got married the night of the full moon, and that's when my wife fell into the ocean." So the pieces are piecing together. Jason looks down at the mermaid's hand, and he's like, "See, like that's the wedding band that I gave her on our wedding night." Count D tells Jason, well, perhaps she is the reincarnation of his wife, or perhaps it is the opposite. He tells them that there is a legend in Asia that mermaids live in a palace on the ocean bed, and every now and then they come to land to mingle with human men to have just a bit of fun. So perhaps the woman that he married was actually a mermaid disguised as a human. Count D tells Jason that the mermaid completely lost her memory. She doesn't know her name. She doesn't know where she was going. She doesn't know where she came from. She's basically a blank slate. There's nothing there. She doesn't know what's going on, essentially. So she doesn't remember Jason, if she even is the same person that he married. So of course, Jason wants to take her home, and Count D is more than welcome to allow that to happen. But as we know, he has contracts that need to be signed before the person can leave with their pet. So he gives him the 3 terms of the contract, and the first term is no one is to ever see Ava Evangeline the mermaid ever. Number 2, he must keep her in a large tank of seawater and change it frequently. And third and final is to never let her starve. So always keep the mermaid well fed. Jason agrees to these terms, and as stated in the last episode, if Jason does not follow the terms of this agreement, he breaks the contract, the shop is not responsible for any consequences that may follow. Jason then takes the mermaid home. He has the pool emptied out of the pool water and filled with seawater. So Ava, or Evangeline, the mermaid, she's swimming around in the pool, and he keeps referring to the mermaid as Ava, but he's wondering if that's actually his real Ava, like the wife that he married. Moving on at the police station, where we see Leon once again, Detective Leon, and we meet a new character. Her name is Jill, and we're there with the captain of the police department. So this is where we learn from the sergeant that Jason was actually Evangeline, aka Ava's manager, and she was this super huge pop megastar. Leon does not believe that her death was an accident. As I said before, the captain saying, well, he was her manager, like she was the moneymaker of that company. She's no good to him if, she's gone. She's out of the picture. She's, kaput, 6 feet under. So why would she do that? Leon does not believe that her end was an accident. He thinks that it was, on that Michael Myers tip. So he's been surveilling Jason Gray's whereabouts, and Jill lets him know, oh, well, Jason Gray was at the pet shop last night. He, of course, knowing how Count D rolls, feels like something wild will probably be going on. He goes to the pet shop and he addresses Count D. He tells Count D, like, hey, okay, I know that Jason Gray was here last night. Don't lie about it. And I love Count D. He was like, yes, he was here last night. Like, Count D has no time for the foolishness. Like, he is so direct. So Leon's like, why was Jason here last night? What was he here for? He told him that he came by to pick up a pet to help console him with the passing of his wife. And he tells Detective Leon that he sold him a mermaid. And Detective Leon's like, boy, you lying. A mermaid? You don't mean like a giant fish or exotic fish? Like a mermaid, really? Count D shows Detective Leon the contract. And Count D is like, so are we understood? Leon's like, yeah, I get it, I guess, whatever. Moving on. And Count D says, you're a homicide detective. What are you doing investigating Jason Gray? This was an accident. Leon says, well, I don't think this was an accident. I think that he had something to do with it, meaning Jason. Count D tells him that he doesn't really believe that Jason would be capable of doing something like that, ending someone's life. Then we're back at the police station. This is where we learn that Evangeline had a dresser, which I'm assuming they mean like a stylist as well, dresser or stylist. So she had a stylist and her name was Louise. And Louise was at one point lovers with Jason Gray, whom got married to Evangeline. They're putting the pieces together, Jill, the captain, and Leon, that potentially she was scorned because there were rumors that Evangeline stole Jason from Louise. They're thinking, well, maybe on the wedding night, she decided, get her revenge and, take her out. So that's one of their potential theories. Louise has become a person of interest in this investigation that Detective Leon is conducting. Fast forward, we're back at Jason's home. And the way I can say this is he and the mermaid, who he calls Ava, are getting a little spicy. And that's all I can say on that. And we're gonna move on to the next thing. Count D pops up out of nowhere at the freaking police station. He asks Detective Leon, like, well, how did things go with Louise? How did that encounter go? And he tells him that he spoke with Louise. Louise seemed like she was genuinely upset about the whole thing, that it was an accident, and that she has no interest in Jason whatsoever. Whenever she gets married, it's not going to be to Jason. He feels that Louise is absolved of any suspicions that he had of her. So we're at the police station and Jill pops up and she tells Detective Leon there was a thigh that washed up ashore and it looks like a human remain. They believe it belonged to Evangeline. There's a radio broadcast. They tell the public human remains washed up on shore that belong to the singer Evangeline. And while we're hearing this over the radio, there's someone driving in the car. And who is it? It's Louise. She's driving. She ends up at Jason's home. She's knocking on the door, banging on the door like she's the police. She's like, Jason, bro, a detective came to my house, like bang, 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 knocking on the door. Jason finally comes to the door, opens up, and man looks dazed and not even dazed and confused, just dazed, like in a trance. Like he's pale, he doesn't look like himself. And Louise notices this and she's like, bruh, like what's going on with you? He's like, I'm here with Ava and she's my one true love. She's the only one I love. And he closes the door in her face, and like the shot of Louise's face just sent me because she looks so gooped and gagged. It's so funny to me. He closes the door in her face and we see him and the mermaid, Evangeline, getting spicy once again, but this time it's a little extra weird because there was some hemoglobin, dripping from his ear. Ava, slurps it up like it's free Slurpee day at 7-Eleven. Weird. Moving on, Louise is telling Jason, the captain, and Jill what really happened that night that Ava fell overboard. She tells 3 of them that it was the night of their wedding, Jason's and Evangeline. Jason, and Louise snuck off from the reception and they were on deck talking to each other. Jason told Louise that he only married Ava for the good of the company. Ava has always gotten exactly what she wanted ever since she was little, and marrying him was just one of her whims. So he's basically letting Louise know not to take this too seriously and kind of giving her hope that eventually this will pass and maybe one day they'll be able to be together. That's kind of the vibe he was giving. Louise says, well, the only reason why Ava and Evangeline wanted you is because she knew you were the only man who would never love her. The 2 of them embrace. They don't kiss or anything, but they embrace. They're hugging each other. And while all this is going on, who was watching this exchange happen? Evangeline. We first see her, she looks livid, like she looks full of rage, like she's ready to rip them limb from limb. But then all of a sudden, sadness takes over, her eyes begin to well up, and she begins to cry. She sprints forward to the railing on the ship, and she's standing there. And Jason calls out for her, and then she darts her head back and looks at them. And then she leaps off and she jumps into the water. So she is the one who put herself in that situation. She jumped off of the ship on her own accord. So, she took herself out. She deletes herself essentially by jumping into the water. Louise is telling the 3 of them that she's worried about Jason because he's keeping some sort of large shark or a dolphin in his pool. And Leon makes a face like, this can't be nobody but Count D. Count D got something to do with this. So Count D says, well, I hope that, Jason is keeping Miss Man well fed because when she's hungry, she can get quite ferocious. With that information that Leon receives from Count D, him, Louise, and reinforcements, fellow officers, dart to Jason's home. They're running down the hall trying to make it to the sunroom where the pool is. And when they get there, the pool room is completely dark and Leon's like, what is that smell? So they cut the lights on and the pool is filled with blood. See the remains of Jason. He's kicked the bucket. He's out of here. And all of a sudden we hear movement in the pool. What pops up in the air emerges is this huge giant fish. So the fish doesn't even look like a mermaid anymore. It just looks like a really large type of fish. Low-key, it's giving a little Unagi vibes, from Avatar: The Last Airbender. But anyway, we're hearing over this radio broadcast. This is what they report to the people, is that the remains of Evangeline, her upper torso specifically, were found in the stomach of some sort of strange fish, along with the remains of Jason Gray, which was, the husband. That is how that story ends. And then we have Count D, who says that mermaids can be very possessive. And we get this shot of a mermaid holding the head of a man, and that is where the episode ends. So that was episode 2 of Pet Shop of Horrors. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know last time you all really liked it, and like I told you guys before, I first watched this series in 2020, but I'd heard about it 2017, 2018, and finally got to watching it. And like I said, it's only 4 episodes, and I will definitely be covering episodes 3 and 4 in the very near future. I like this episode because you're left to wonder, was she really Evangeline this whole time? Or was this just a mermaid that looked a lot like her? You don't really know. Me personally, I feel like it was what Count D said, that she was a mermaid disguising herself as a human, and which is why, she was able to become a singer, because mermaids are associated having, a siren song, beautiful voices, and she was this super huge mega pop star. So I personally think that she was actually a mermaid the whole time. That's what I think. But I like that it's open-ended, or interpretation of whatever you want it to be. So yes, if you like this video, like it. If you're enjoying the content I make here, please subscribe. I would very much so love to have you here. Leave it down in the comments below. If since my last video, have any of you gone and watched the rest of the episodes, or are you guys watching along with me as I talk about these? Also, I just wanted to add, I haven't said it in any of my other Freaky Fridays videos, but just to be clear, as you know, this channel grows and as these videos get more views, I just want to be clear, like, I'm just doing highlights. I'm not going play by play of every single thing that happens in the movies or the TV shows I talk about. I'm just giving like the highlights of what's happening. I just feel like I need to say that because you know how the internet can be. And I feel like at some point someone's might say I left something out, and it's like, yeah, girl, if you want to know everything that happens play by play by play by play, minute by minute by minute, second by second by second, then you need to go and watch the actual thing, because at that point, like, I'm just regurgitating every single thing that happened, and like, that's no fun. I'm here to give y'all like the highlights and the fun stuff so you can, you know, see for yourself if you're interested in actually watching it. And plus, I think it makes it more enjoyable for you guys who do watch these videos and do feel interested in actually watching them. While I am giving away like the key points, there are still little details that I leave out. So when you go and watch it, you at least know that you don't know every single thing that happens. So I just wanted to put that out there because I never said that before in any of these videos, and I just wanted to make that clear right now. That's all I wanted to say about that. So thank you all so very much for watching, and until next time, I have to return some videotapes. Bye guys!